In this video, we're going to look at how to use a website called DEMSOS. It's a graphing calculator that can help us with lots of different things. And so we're going to be practicing it in preparation for the air test. So when you click on Google Classroom, remember it'll look like this. You click on Classwork. And right here, there's a link to the air version of DEMSOS, which is different than DEMSOS.com. DEMSOS.com looks like this with this black bar at the top, and it has a little bit of different features than the one that you get to use on the air test. So this is what it will look like when you click on the link. And then over here on the left-hand side is where you type equations in. Now this is a graphing calculator, so it's most useful when we are graphing things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is just if you want to look at the graph of a function, you type it in. Your equation can say y equals, and then you can type it in. And so here we'll go 3x squared. If you want to have a squared, you can hit the caret button, which is shift 6. Whoops, I meant to hit second there. And then you need to use the arrow keys, or you can use your mouse to get out of that exponent so that you can type in the rest of your equation. If you prefer, when you're typing this, if you want to type in your exponent, you can scroll down and there's a keyboard here. And you can use exponents of 2. If you want an exponent of something other than 2, then you just click this a to the power of b, and it will let you type in whatever exponent you want. Okay. So we have our function, and it shows us the graph. This is a quadratic equation. It forms that U shape, and I can look at the graph. I can zoom out. I can zoom in. I can use these buttons to zoom out and zoom in. If I want to, let's say, zoom in only on the x-axis, I can say, I really want to only look at this from -2 to +2. If you're on a phone, you can pinch it with your fingers. Otherwise, we can go here to the x-axis and say, let's start at -2, and let's finish at +2. And all that did is it kind of stretched it so that it looks a little bit wider. If you would prefer to use function notation, you could type this in as f of x, and it gives you the same exact graph. A graphing calculator assumes the equation is equal to y. So if you don't want to type in y equals, you don't even have to. And again, you get the same exact thing. A key difference that the air version will not do is graph, actually, and this one now it does. So it will graph a vertical line. If we type in, let's say we want to go back, we can hit undo and get right back to the equation that we had before. As long as our equation is equal to y, or f of x, we can click this gear, and it will make a table for us. See how it says convert to table? So it will create a table for us, and it will tell us what happens when we plug in values. I can just type in different values here. And so that can be really helpful when I want to plug in numbers to this equation. I can just create a table, and it plugs in any number for me. Again, we can hit undo to go back to the equation if we want an equation. We can use this graph also to look at various, whoops, I did that wrong. Let's go minus. And I can look at different features on a graph. So I can look here at x-intercepts. If I click on this point, it will highlight the point for me. So let's say maybe it was a decimal. This will even tell me the decimal so that I have exact values that I don't even have to use any math to figure out. Another key feature that we're going to look at is something called the vertex, and that's going to be this point right here at the bottom. And again, all you have to do is click on it and it gives it to you. Otherwise, we have to use lots of complicated formulas to find all of these values. So DEMSOS can be really helpful when we want to look at a graph. If we have a system of equations, I don't know if you remember the systems that we did way back in, I don't know, probably November or December. If we have, let's say, I don't know, we'll go -4x, maybe we'll go +10, okay? We may have two equations. This will give me their exact point of intersection. If there's ever something that maybe you can't see, so let's say you know you have an equation here for a black line, you should see a black line, and you don't see it. You can always zoom out, and eventually it'll be there. You can drag this around, you can move it around. But this is just a very helpful tool that we can use in a lot of different problems on the air test. One of the things that we're really going to be using is this gear and convert to that table that I showed you before. So we're going to be doing a lot with this. But you can use this on your phone. You can use it on a Chromebook or a laptop, and it's much more useful to do. And we're going to allow you to use it on your test in our class. You can add things. You can add in your own table. So if you want to see maybe what some different values look like, you can make your own table. And it will graph these points for you to show you where these points are on a graph. So maybe if you forget if this point's going to be the y-intercept or the x-intercept, you can graph it, and it will show it to you, show it right where it goes. But by far the most useful feature is graphing an equation. If I have an equation, let's say that's not in y equals mx plus b form, it will still graph it. If I were to put this in y equals mx plus b, I would subtract 2 from both sides, and I would get y equals 3x minus 7. So you can see here, let's say maybe that I want to change the color. I can long click, like I can hold it, press and hold, and I can change the color. I can even make it dashed or solid if I want to look at it a little bit differently. But I can, let's say maybe I only wanted to see the blue and not the black. I can click on it, and now it's only going to graph the blue instead of the black. But you can see they're the same line. So it doesn't matter if y is by itself in order to graph. However, if you wanted to create a table for you, the y value must be by itself. Hopefully you can see here that there is no option of converting this equation into a table because the y is not by itself. So you may still have to do some problems by hand in order for it to give you what you want. So as long as y is by itself, you would just click that button, and it's created a table for you in which you can look for, let's say, the y-intercept here. You can't type values in over here on y, but you can look at these patterns, and let's say you want to head towards 0, so start typing in more values and see. You can see that 0 would be somewhere here in the middle. So you can just kind of guess and play around with numbers if you want to try to figure out when it's going to equal 0. But we're going to be using this a lot in class, so make sure you understand that you always start on Google Classroom and you click on this link here. You may even want to star it so that it saves as one of your favorites up across the top of your computer so that you can just click on it and get right to this point.